Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future. These are my stories of choice, change and action, along with the phenomenal guests I have on here. From a really young age, I've always desired to create a change in the world. The planet has been a constant inspiration to me, and Access Consciousness has shown me the tools to know that anything is possible. And I keep choosing. What are you going to choose?
Yeah, sorry, I thought we were already on. Anyway, everything we said before was so profound. It's like, oh my God.
In progress.
So basically, you should be in class live. I mean, online or live, okay. So, but here's the thing, it's like choice and contribution. Membership is what we were talking about, and raffles and a whole lot of really profound stuff that will never be recorded. When someone said to me on my COI, I have a COI, a conglomeration of idiots. I don't have a team, okay? I have a conglomeration of idiots because a team usually has that energy. Do you want to, I'll just start the class. Do you have anything else? Yeah, because it's good to talk about this. Just how you create your business, right? So first of all, a team always has that energy of like there's a leader, and that leader is the one who must direct, which usually ends up being micromanaging. And everyone's sort of waiting for this person, okay? Conglomeration of idiots is more like a whole bunch of people who are brilliant, and their capacities are brilliant, and they're all heading in the same direction. So that's what we call ourselves. We're a COI, a conglomeration of idiots. And it's like there's no boss, there's no whatever, but there's people within my COI who are brilliant at certain areas and lead certain areas, but then they'll sort of be able to pull on someone over here and pull on someone over here. Actually, for everyone listening who's on my COI, there is one thing that I wanted to address and talk about, and I see this, like Kath's like, I see this occur a lot within Access, is you are so friggin' brilliant and your capacities are so amazing that you can go off and do a whole bunch of things, you know, on your own. If you started including the contribution of others, would it be easier? Would your ideas expand? Because there's a couple of people on my COI that I always say, they're like the quiet people who just get shit done. You know, people like that in the workforce that you just like, I call them like adults too. It's like, you know, they're not trying to work with Access so they can shag Dane. They're like not what, you know, all this sort of stuff. They're just like, I just really like this and I want to contribute and get things done. And so they just do their job, right? But if you come in and just go, hey, this is my idea, this is what I'm looking at, does anyone have anything that they could contribute? It doesn't mean that you have to take everybody's ideas. So I'm going to give an example because like some people on my COI. Wes, who I work with, is one of the guys who leads a lot of stuff on my podcast. And he left me a message the other day saying, hey, looking at other ideas about how we can get your podcast out there, blah, 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 right? So then if that's one person leaving a message for me, what happens? It becomes me and Wes, right? And also, I'm not that great at that shit. Like, that's why I have a COI. They're amazing. Like, they know a lot more stuff, right? So I went, okay, I'm going to send this message to my podcast thread so all the people that work on my podcast can hear it and they can download what you said. It either goes somewhere, it doesn't go somewhere. But you notice when you have an idea and it sparks over here and then it sparks over here and it sparks here, and it doesn't matter where it begun. What future is it going to create, and how do you create this to be something greater? So if I would say random practices of jumping in, like we work on WhatsApp, and if you jump on those threads, people, COI, this is me now having a meeting with my COI, and just go, hey, I've got this idea, anyone got anything to add to it? Because like Pamela, my assistant, who, I love saying this, she likes it when I, she's literally a rocket scientist. Like, she trained as a rocket scientist. She's an engineer and a rocket scientist, right? And she lives up north in Queensland, and she's my assistant. And she handles my schedule. She looks at all of my emails. So if you ever send me an email, it goes through Pamela. Looks at all my emails. She alerts me of so many things. She's extremely organised and really great. But she's also got fabulous creative ideas. But because she's in this quote-unquote role, a lot of people don't ask her for her ideas based on she's in this role. So what if you started expanding your awareness of every single person you're working with and start asking them? There was a guy in Australia who very successful business, franchise, etc. And this interview I saw with him once, they said to him, "What's your trick? Like, how are you so successful?" And he said, "I surround myself by capable people and I listen." How many CEOs, bosses, and people who created businesses do you see them destroy them when they become controlling of the business and don't allow anybody else to contribute? Now, does that mean that you have to get over your control freakness? Yes, it does. Does it mean that you have to be vulnerable and just push down those barriers? Yes, it does. But everything that you've decided is going to happen because you choose that. What if it's the antithesis of that? So everything that is, times a godzillion, all the big five that keep you from actually asking for contribution, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. Because we come up with these insane points of view of what asking for contribution is. You know, and in Access, we talk about these elements of creation, right? Question. First one, question. Ask questions, ask questions. Ask every single person, home plate, everyone you work with, go and ask them, hey, what ideas have you come up with lately that would expand this? Like, if you have something, like, so, for example, I have a podcast or I have the membership. Hey, what ideas do you have that we could expand this? Like, recently we've just added Spanish to my membership, which it's only ever been in English, and we've added Spanish just to see how this goes, right? And we usually have this, like a certain amount of people you need in the translation to give it the tick of approval to say, yes, we translate it. And we didn't have that amount of people. So then when I was asleep, part of my koi just went, okay, cancelled. And I woke up and one of them pinged me and said, hey, can we not cancel this? And I was like, yeah, because there's so much work that's gone into this already. Let's give it 3 months. I don't care if we pay the translators extra money, we do whatever we need to do. Let's give it 3 months so that we can keep expanding it and blowing those like dandelion seeds across the way. Like, you've got to be in question the whole time. Most people create these like a system in a business is designed to change. Most people create systems and then they create them as structured and they create them as fixed and it's significant and this is it and this is the way it is. It doesn't change. That's not a business that will expand. Okay? It's like if you look at creating systems but be in question. Okay, so truth, should we cancel this or should we keep it going? Should we expand this? Yeah, let's expand it, let's go. Am I willing to put more money into this to make it bigger? Yeah, let's go. And if it doesn't work in 3 months, okay, I gave it a shot. Spanish don't like me. That's what I came to the conclusion of. No, I'm kidding. And it's like, but ask for contribution. So question, choice. Then you have choices. Question, 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 choice, 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 choice. Okay? You have so many choices available. And then from each choice you make, you have all these possibilities that show up. This analogy that I don't know, for me it works. It's like you look at a question is like, if you picture a tree, right? And it's this trunk of this tree. It's this, every time you ask a question, and then every single time you choose, it's like all these branches come out. Every single leaf on that tree is another possibility. Now, flip it, you go into judgment. That's the trunk of the tree. Every single branch is another judgment. Every single leaf is another judgment. In order to have a judgment, you must have a whole lot of other judgments that keep that one judgment in place. So how many of you have been judging your business rather than being in question with your business and having way too much fun with it and allowing your business to show you the possibilities? And everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. Question, choice, possibility, and the fourth one, which I get stumps most people, is contribution. Like when I say contribution, what comes up for you? What have you defined contribution as? And how many of you go, oh, that means I have to give? Or I'm waiting for someone to give something to me. What if it's entirely different? What if contribution is about receiving? And what if contribution was in that question and in that ask, you start receiving a whole lot more? In every element. Like I spoke to Sorry, I try and make things infinite, but I'm not very good at that with some things because I don't care about it in the sense of talking about people. But I spoke to Diana this morning too, she's just started leading classes, right? Now this class is run through my business. Next week is run through Access. Are they very similar? Would you as a client really know? Not really, except for the company that you put your money through, okay? But there are different aspects. And I said to her, hey, ask me anything, because it's like, and I said, look at everyone and how they lead and what they choose and make it yours, okay? And because the thing is, I said, I started leading the classes, like that's how they started, was with me. And it's like, but how I do it doesn't mean it's right or correct. How would you choose it? How would you do it? And it's like, I mean, you've got Gaia here who's which is very funny. She's our online host. But actually, I think she's learnt a lot. Yesterday, she was like, wow, like, you know, and like putting her, I guess, her foot in many different jobs. But she's our European regional coordinator, but we sort of kibosh the name regional because look at the energy of regional, right? Gaia's that. Sylvia Puentes is the quote-unquote regional for, is there sugar in it? Yes. Thank you. Is the regional for Americas, and then Sarah Watt is the regional for Australasia. Now, if you go, okay, these are our regional coordinators. Look at the energy of it, okay? It's a little stuck. Are they friggin' brilliant in those areas? Yes. But Gary, love him, he said, no, let's call them the flurry of possibilities. So we literally have a thread called the flurry of possibilities because we want them to flurry around the world too. It's like we don't want them all to be. So right now, Sarah is in India with Dane, and she was in Dubai with Dane as well, which Dubai is run through a different company and India is run through different companies. So you create this sort of like chaos, so it's malleable. So, and I was saying to Diana, it's like, you know, like if you all educate each other, but not from this rightness, but from this like, hey, what about this or what about this? And yet you make it yours because you are brilliant. What you know is brilliant. Like what Diana knows, what Gaia knows is brilliant. It's like, has Gaia had more experience in this 10 seconds? Yeah, it doesn't mean she's better or anything. It's just like, but watch other businesses and see how they be and go, oh, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that. And now I'm going to create this as mine. How many of your businesses are you creating as the industry standard that keeps you in the zero-sum game of reality with business? And everything at that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, privates and beyonds. Yeah.
I just wanted to add that it made me realize how much am I still leaning to how people do things instead of being in a question, how would I do things?
Yeah.
But Access is brilliant in like the question and the ask and the demand is pushing us to like actually ask ourselves who we are, what energy we be in that situation, what are we like, what would we do different than the other ones? It's almost like you're constantly right behind our ass to like ask that fucking question, not go into the structure and linearity. And which is uncomfortable, but
well, it's also up to you guys too to acknowledge when you go into control, because that was my job. I set the whole room up, and every room, like if you know, this is like, take this in your business, whatever it is, okay? You walk into an event room, it's like having a blank canvas. And it's like, I mean, you've got the tech guys, you've got the stage, you've got all this stuff, and it's like you've got different acoustics with it, like how high are the roofs? It's like, is there windows? Is there, you know, all this different thing, right? So I would have a way that I would walk into a room and you'd go, okay, how do I see this finished canvas, okay? And I remember one of the first times that I let go and somebody else started setting up the room and doing that, and then they went, hey, is this okay? And I walked in and I was like, fuck, I would do this completely different. Do you know how hard it was for me to go, yeah, it's great, it'll work? Because no one's going to do anything the same as you, ever. Ever, 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 ever. So then the next question with your business and with that project, whatever you're working on, is go, okay, so they didn't do it like I would, but will this work? Yeah, okay, cool, let's go. And if you see something that wouldn't, like, you know, for example, if there was a massive window behind me that was, you know, had no curtain or something, it's not going to be great for the tech team or the online crew because there's just this glare and I become a silhouette. Maybe it's a good idea, I don't know, whatever. but you know what I mean? You go, hey, what if we move the stage here? You know, because this. But nothing from judgment and nothing from rightness or wrongness, only from contribution. But how many of you have decided that if you receive contribution, it means you're less than? How much of that is the zero-sum game? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds.
And you said it in the morning that, like, with the zero-sum of game, how much are we not, like, am I not willing to step into the potency of myself to not step on anyone's toes? To not be the boss bitch, or, like, you know, how much am I avoiding to step into the brilliance that I am just to not offend anyone around me? Which, yeah.
Yeah, and then how much, okay, so two things. One, when you said boss bitch, it's like, what if you decided leading is?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, it's like, so all the stupidity and the lies about, you know, that saying of like what, you know, I mean, you've got what makes a man makes a woman a slut. What makes a man a leader makes a woman a bitch. Like, it's like there's, like, that's the you know, because a woman is supposed to be, you know, I mean, quiet and submissive and, you know, comply, etc. How many women do you know that are quiet and submissive and comply? Or how many women do you know that just want to conquer the world? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and then it's like, how many amazing, beautiful humanoid men do you know that are just like, what am I meant to be doing? Like, you know, and they're just like these kind, caring, nurturing men and quite capable, but they're all of a sudden just going, I mean, the women's movement was really interesting because, yeah, did it empower women? Yes. Did it disregard men? Yes. And it had that energy of now a man's like, do I open the door for you or do I not open the door for you? Am I going to get yelled at or are you going to be grateful, you know? And I love being treated like a woman. Like, I love a man to open up a door for me, you know, put my jacket on, not in Marseille because it's very hot. But, you know, all of that. I like that, okay? I enjoy it. But I'm also a very strong woman and I can be very, you know, independent, yet I'm willing to receive contribution. Keep bringing up that C word, contribution. So everything at that is everywhere that you're not willing to receive contribution because you've decided that you must do it on your own or you must prove something, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. I did this telecall, it's on my website. It's called I Need a Man. Oh my God, did I piss a lot of people off with the name. Some women came on there going, okay, so you're going to tell me how to get a man, you know? And then other women were like, how dare you do this, like if I need a man? But the whole concept of it was, it's about contribution and the willingness to receive. Like, we're all infinite beings. Why would we not receive from each other and also use our capacities to our advantage, right? It's like you chose this body, you chose, you know, where you were born, your culture, your religion, how you look. And it's like, so what if you used your capacities to your advantage? So everywhere that you haven't been willing to use your capacities to your advantage, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. And then, so what if you decided leading is? Any of you, but you, Diana. But any of you, like what comes up for you? Truth, it's like, what have you decided leading is?
Well, the first thing that came up for me is conquering.
Conquering.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many wars have you conquered, and how many, you know, people have you conquered in every lifetime? And then what did you decide?
Many and plenty, and it goes with the zero sum because Gary tapped into it too when I had the session that I probably killed many people, so I'm avoiding it this lifetime.
I love it. I probably killed many people. Yeah. So okay, and then so what did you decide when you killed many people?
Say it again.
What did you decide when you killed many people?
That I'm never going to do that again.
Say that for me 3 times.
I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to do that again.
And all the shit you implants and explants and programming, holding and binding that, will you destroy and uncreate it? All right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. You have to be willing to kill. I saw this show once and I thought it was such a brilliant line. There was a guy in jail who murdered his wife. And the woman interviewing him asked him a question about, like, you know, what makes you a murderer? And he said, everybody's a murderer. You just haven't met the right person yet. And I was like, true.
Yeah, true.
Oh, that's great. The French like that in the translation booth. I like that. Yeah. But didn't it give you a little bit of freedom? You were just like, yeah, okay, I just haven't met the right person yet. So, yeah. So having that brought up, and everywhere that you haven't been willing to claim your murderous killer instinct because you've been functioning from the zero-sum game of reality where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad. Yes! Right and wrong, good and bad. Pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, privates, and beyonds. Contribution. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, possibilities, power and potency can you, your body and your business be that would allow you to receive contribution beyond your control? You'll be amazed at what shows up, and everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, privates and beyonds. Like, what if you've been asking for more clients, more money, you know, expand your business, all of this stuff? What if it's about receiving and asking for contribution? I mean, I just pinged Laurence. I don't know if you answered me because I sort of went back downstairs. But if there's a French JCF here, Joy Business Facilitator, and you have a French Joy Business book, and the relationship, Are You Sure You Want One book that I have in French, I want to send them to the hairdresser, but I'd like to send them to the hairdresser with the, you know, hey, here's a JCF, so that if they want to do anything. So, okay, so if you look at that energy, okay, she was the hairdresser, we just had a chat, and the one thing she said to me was, she said, wow, in Marseille, I love the way people do their city, in Marseille, France, you know, no one thinks about the future. And I was like, but the whole world doesn't think about the future. Okay, so, but she was intrigued enough, and she burst out laughing when I told her about the third book I'd written, Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? And she was like, oh, she looked at me and she went, that's a tough topic. And I said, I know. So, but here's the thing. She contributed to me. I would like to contribute to her. And I'd also like to contribute to a JCF that can contribute. And where does it go? Who knows? It might not go anywhere. And it's like, or it might go somewhere in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. But contribution doesn't have a time limit on it. It doesn't have a judgment on it. It's just contribution. So the choice and contribution membership which was where I started as well, is I called it that because I desired for people to, like, I have a podcast called Choice, Change and Action, because for me, you got to take the action. You can't just talk about what you want and sit there and not take action, okay? So it's called Choice, Change and Action podcast, and I get some really cool friggin' feedback from it. It's really amazing when people ping me and I receive it all and they're like, oh, I can't wait for your next podcast, and what they receive from it. It's magical for me, okay? Then I had the Choice, Change and Action membership, but then I wanted to change it because it was just getting a bit convoluted. So I looked at it and went, what do I want? And I actually asked everyone in the membership, and I think it was Heike that came up with choice and contribution. I love it because it's about choosing, but it's also about contribution. And one of the things in the membership is that, as Lale was mentioning, we have this hot seat. Now, when that was first given to me as an idea, I went, doing a private session in front of everyone. And, you know, private session, even the words are private session. And I was like, is that kind to that person? And I went, okay, I'll give it a go. And it has been phenomenal. Like, to just pick a name out. And every single time, this half-hour private session and people come on and watch, it's such a contribution to everyone. And the strength that the people have when they are in that private session, and just to go, like, it's almost like they can't have their barriers up because they're in there and people are like listening and watching. It's just like, And it's always this like contribution that I cannot describe. And I love it. And then the other thing that we have in there is an energy pool, which was an idea from Simone Zucker, who's on the membership. She said, Simone, you do energy pools so well. She said, what if we added an energy pool each month? So now we do. We do like a 10 to 20 minute energy pool each month on that topic. And that's the Choice and Contribution membership. So if you want to join, it'd be fun. But it's like the whole idea is what I wanted to talk to you about it is the creation of it and how something evolves, and then I guess like not the why you're choosing something, but as you choose, how it changes something and expands something in your business and allowing that contribution, okay? So again, it's like, let's run that last process. Because man, if we could just like, when I say slow down, I don't mean slow down, like, I mean like that relaxation. I mean, even they have, what do dolphins breathe? Is it theta? Dolphins, like what are they, their energy field, their frequency is at, is it theta? Can someone Google for me? Because it's different, right?
It's sonar.
It's what? Sonar.
Sonar.
Okay. And so there's a list because it goes boom, boom, boom. And there's, like most people do frantic is how I'm going to describe it, okay? Does frantic create? No. You think it does. Oh my God, I'm late. Oh my God, this is happening. Oh my God, this is not on time. Oh my God, we don't have enough money. Oh my God, this whole thing. And it's like, but it doesn't create. And it's like, you like slow your molecules down, you actually speed up with your awareness. So how often do you get frantic about business rather than slowing your molecules down? That actually speeds up your awareness, so you actually know, you access that knowing. There's a thing also called the silver method or something like that. This guy discovered this. There was this woman in America who won all of these things. She'd go into competitions and she'd win everything, and they were like, how is she winning? But she literally talks about this state of her mind, and the way, like they describe it in one way, I'm going to describe it in this way, relaxation. Like you winning that session, the way you were when you bought that raffle ticket, that was from the relaxation and the request. So everywhere that you've decided that you cannot create something from relaxation and request, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds.
Is that relaxation coming also from where we have no point of view?
Yeah.
Or where we're like not vested into outcome?
Yep, all of it. All those like brilliant baby tools that you get in foundation that aren't baby tools, but we just sort of dismiss them because we go, oh, they're so much bigger and greater now. But it's like, no, interesting point of view. Like the 10 Keys to Freedom book and that Telecall 10 Commandments is the freedom. Like, interesting point of view, you know, would an infinite being choose this? It's like being in allowance. It's like all of those tools. Not being vested in the outcome and being willing to receive everything though. Because zero-sum game, like, so how many of you have a zero-sum game of reality with business? I like the facial expressions. Oof. Everything at that is times a Godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, possibilities, power and potency can you and your body be that would allow you to receive contribution beyond your control? And everything at that is times a Godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change and Action. Don't forget you can download the show notes, and lastly, have way too much fun today.